our program.
I'm quite short. I'm going to do my best to reach this. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Mayana, and I use she, her pronouns. Just as a reminder, all information for links, groups, physical bathroom locations at the Capitol, and meeting materials can be found on the landing page in the Google Drive. The link for this page was sent in the registration email. Also, if you need any assistance, please visit the landing page on Google Drive to find contact information for your specific question. Another thing to note is that we have an amazing photography team joining us and capturing these moments today. So as a reminder from when you registered, if you're not wanting videos or photos used of you, please add the, I don't know if it's a green or a red sticker, still kind of confused on that. Green sticker, please add that to your name tag and we'll ensure that accommodation. For all of our audience joining us virtually, thank you and welcome. Please feel free to engage in the chat and ask questions you may have. Additionally, while we do not have, we do have an ASL interpreter today. Okay. You can also find closed captioning available on YouTube. And for further instructions, please follow the directions also posted in the chat. Thank you. I'll pass it now to Caitlin to introduce herself.
Welcome. My name is Caitlin Wallen. I use she, her pronouns, and I am from the Eastern chapter. I will disclose that I am 3 months pregnant, and I may have morning sickness, so please forgive me if I throw up. So, what is the purpose of YAD, and why do we engage in advocacy? YAD is the culmination of all the hard work that youth advocates have done over the last year. Youth and young adult voice in legislation matters. Giving young people a space in each step of the advocacy cycle is part of uplifting experiences of those who are being impacted. I will now pass the mic to Mayana.
Awesome. Thank you, Caitlin. So with that, I would like to invite everyone to pause, quiet, and reflect as we open with this land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we occupy unceded and traditional territories of the Cayuse, Umatilla, Walla Walla, Cowlitz, Nisqually, and Squaxin peoples. We acknowledge the indigenous communities throughout Washington state who were the first stewards of this land and who still live, work, and build community here today. We would also like to recognize the historical and systemic exploitation and oppression of indigenous peoples and other historically oppressed communities, which has led to the disproportionality and representation of these communities among the youth we serve and whose voices we seek to elevate. I ask that we would keep this in mind as we work to transform the systems that have and continue to impact us. We offer this acknowledgement to step back from the erasure of indigenous history and begin a new way forward. And now I will pass it back to Caitlin.
Thank you so much, Mayana. And now we will look at our agenda for today. We will finish our morning program here in the Olympia Ballroom. Then we will be walking to the Capitol campus for advocacy in action. After the walk, we will rally on the north steps of the Legislative Building. And to finish it off, we will march back to the ballroom for program closing and lunch. Sorry, I gotta flip a page. And now, I have a question for our speakers. Are your refrigerators running by chance? And now, I am beyond happy to introduce our new executive director, Natalie Lente. She has joined the Mockingbird Society recently and has Natalie has already made quite the impact at TMS. We are honored that you are able to be present at this event. Natalie, could you please introduce yourself to everyone?
Yes. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Caitlin. Thank you, Lauren. Wow. Good morning, everyone. I am so humbled and honored to be here with you all today. And this is the first Mockingbird Society Youth Advocacy Day since 2020 in person. So thank you for joining us. This is amazing. So As was said, I am the new executive director of the Mockingbird Society and its first executive of color. And this is something that I do not take lightly. Thank you. In 2005, I met Jim Theophilus, the founder of our organization, when I was working as a King County planner. I was immediately struck by his passion and vision for driving more equitable policies for youth in foster care. At the time, I'd already experienced the system firsthand as a foster parent, respite parent, and as an adoptive parent of our firstborn, Ariana, who had been in 6 foster placements before the age of 2 years old. I was deeply aware of how broken our system was and how the services intended to improve opportunity for all were deeply rooted in racism and inequity. Since then, I've been a continuous fan of the Mockingbird Society and followed its lead agenda for years. I never imagined I'd have the incredible opportunity to lead such a wonderful organization. I'm an activist, and driving to social and racial justice are amongst my greatest passions. I'm very familiar with the roots of systemic inequity, and as a woman of color, a queer, and a human who has lived through incredible childhood poverty, homelessness, racism, homophobia, and body shaming, I'm hyper-aware that I've embodied all the oppression I've experienced, and am intentional about attending to my own healing and to the healing of the communities I move within. I believe that real change is rooted in the community healing and transformation. The answers don't lie with bureaucracies and system players. Rather, they rest within the hearts and minds of the people closest to the problem, those most impacted by decisions being made or not being made within a system. In this case, our youth and young adults living in foster care, experiencing homelessness, or those who have experienced foster care directly. You all know what your needs are. You know what changes would improve the system. By bringing together people from across the community and keeping equity at the center of the work, we can transform systems and achieve more equitable outcomes for all community members. The way that I look at it in my work is that I'm navigating toward liberation. And thinking about liberation for all of us, justice for us all, it's not just about dismantling systems of injustice, it's also about what are we building instead. Racial justice or racial equity goes beyond anti-racism, for example. It's not the absence of discrimination and inequities, but also the presence of deliberate systems and supports to achieve and sustain equity through intentional and preventative measures. It requires the inclusion of people who are most harmed by inequities in decision-making processes that impact their lives. This is what Youth Advocacy Day is all about, right? When considering the term social justice, the word social is the relational experience of our shared interbeing. When 2 or more beings are gathered, we actually create a collective nervous system. An amazing mentor of mine said that justice is loving awareness in action. When we're not coming from a place of loving awareness for ourselves and others, the place we are coming from is othering. In navigating towards liberation, I've come to understand that my personal transformation is intrinsically tied to our collective liberation. I believe that centering relationships is one of the most important strategies in dismantling systems of oppression. My focus is on how to work across lines of difference and center relationships in healing, even when it gets messy and complicated. Moving towards equity and collective well-being demands that we develop a shared understanding of how racism and inequity works so that we can locate ourselves in right role and relationship and work across lines of difference to dismantle white supremacy and create the conditions where everyone can thrive. As a community working to support young people, we must be explicit and committed to centering Black, Indigenous, and people of color in our programs and services, the leaders amongst us, and the young people we serve. I put my emphasis on a tomorrow that centers the dignity of every human. I think it's time to close the gap between vision and practice, time for those of us who seek justice and liberation to be just and liberated, to be visible and vocal and of this place fully. I'm so grateful to join all of you in solidarity today. Please remember it's okay to be imperfect. Have grace for yourself as an advocate today. And to our young people, your courage and resolve already fill this room. I'm so honored to be here with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Natalie. Those words were really beautiful and so true. We will now be moving into our advocacy agenda section. This year, we have 6 legislative priorities, which will be introduced by our youth and young adult speakers. Our first youth and young adult speaker will be Douglas, speaking on extended foster care and how we can expand upon it. So without further ado, here's Douglas Gardner.
All right, my name is Douglas. Sorry if I'm gonna be loud today. Sorry if I yawn too much. I haven't slept in more than 48 hours. Before I get started, I just wanted to say I really love Mockingbird Society. Natalie literally just made me cry. I am here not only to support Bill 5230, I'm here to also support other bills and the bill that I'm currently working on, which is focusing on primary foster care and make it to where both parties, foster parents and social workers, meet in the middle with the youth and young adults. All right. I am a King County chapter member. I am speaking on behalf of Lacey Morgan. Our chapter leader, Lacey, is joining virtually today. She could not join us in person because she is about to give birth, which is awesome. Yep. So thank you for your work preparing this, Lacey. Here I go. Over the last year, our region has been working to expand extended foster care, or EFC. EFC was created in Washington based on a 2006 Mockingbird request, and then grew into the national program it is today. Before EFC, nearly 70% of young adults leaving foster care were homeless within a year of exiting. DSHS reported that in 2020, the number was down to 17%. We want to expand access to this great program to keep lowering that number. Our bill, Senate Bill 5230, will remove entry barriers such as extending support for youth and young adults who don't meet requirements currently in place. Currently, extended foster care requirements are an approved job or school plan unless you have a documented disability and an approved independent living system. This means youth and young adults who are homeless aren't eligible for EFC support. Our bill would fix that. Secondly, the bill would increase support payments from $110 to $1,200 a month, which me personally would help a lot because I'm in extended foster care. So, this would help young people make ends meet, especially those who live in expensive parts of the state like King County. Next, we want the Bridge to Independence, also known as the Post-Extended Foster Care Program. This program allows young people to continue receiving financial support through age 25. We have so many studies proving that extended foster care is effective, resulting in higher rates of high school graduation, college enrollment, better and long-lasting employment, and higher lifetime earnings. The participation in EFC decreases homelessness, rates of criminal legal system involvement, which I know from experience because I have barely illegal stuff, young people's need for basic public aid, rates of teenage parenting, substance abuse, and mental health disorders. This bill is going to help young people have actual options and receive support after leaving state-run systems. I'm positive that every foster youth will appreciate it if you help support Senate Bill 5230. So.
Thank you so much, Douglas. And now we will dive into limiting access to juvenile records with Mayana.
Thank you. So unfortunately, our Northern Engagement Coordinator, Sabian Hart, and chapter member Ari could not be here today, but I have the honor to read the speech they wrote for all of us today. So without further ado, juvenile record sealing is something that we've been working to address for multiple years now. Although we previously passed legislation for an automatic sealing process to be in place, it has become quite clear that it is ineffectual and needs to be improved upon. The two main ways we want to improve upon juvenile record sealing are to make it more effective and create an accountability aspect for organizations that are illegally sharing sealed records. In order to make record sealing more effective, we want to make all juvenile records as equally confidential as juvenile dependency records. This will heavily limit access to them and create another barrier to prevent uninvolved people and organizations from obtaining them. Although this doesn't specifically address the sealing of records, this is still an overall improvement that will allow more protection of juvenile records in general. This piece is especially important because data shows that not only are BIPOC youth overrepresented as a whole in the juvenile justice system, but their records are sealed less than their white counterparts as well. According to a study done by Tony Calero in 2013 that was published by the University of Washington, white individuals represent 70.3% of the population of eligible records. They represent 78.8% of sealed records. And by contrast, Black individuals hold 12.6% of eligible records, yet only possess 8.6% of sealed records. An even larger gap appears for American Native individuals. They comprise 4.6% of eligible records, and yet only 1.6% of sealed records. This needs to be addressed. To create an accountability measure, we want financial repercussions for organizations that illegally share sealed records. Currently, the bill language would allow victims to seek civil action against the organization, wherein if they prevail, the court may award a per-day penalty of $100 a day for each day since the record is shared in violation of this section without corrective action taken by the entity illegally sharing the record or actual damages, whichever is greater. There is more language about what this looks like, but this is a robust start to taking preventative action. Having a juvenile record for a lot of people is a byproduct of survival behaviors. Regardless of their actions were flagrant mistakes or something they felt they needed to do, it is dire that we have a system that allows equitable opportunities for all young people as they transition into adulthood. It is especially important this is addressed pertaining to juvenile records, as this is yet another thing that disproportionately affects Black and brown folks. We are eager for your support, and thank you for your time. And on to our next capable speaker, Bunny, on the topic of financial capability.
Thank you. My name is Bunny Garcia Owens. My pronouns are they, them, and I will be speaking on financial capability. Financial capability is a legacy item that we at Mockingbird have been continuously working on. In this time, we noticed the high correlation of young adults experiencing housing instability when they age out. We believe that youth and young adults should have the availability to get help far before they ever get in such a situation. Youth and young adults are highly capable of controlling finances on their own. I know that many in the system could benefit from this opportunity. That is why we are working with youth and young adults and DCYF to help establish financial independence. The bill we are proposing that youth who are 14 years of age and older can set up a private self-controlled bank account with DCYF overseeing it. DCYF will be depositing $25 into youth or young adult bank accounts each month, beginning 2 weeks after setting up their account. Because of this allowance, this will help them in their money management, savings, and having confidence in their ability to navigate their finances. Additionally, there will be financial education to youth beginning at the ages of 12 and up to help youth navigate financing before and during obtaining and maintaining a bank account, of which youth and young adults may opt out if they wish. Through this, youth and young adults will significantly reduce their risk factor to housing instability by gaining financial success in these programs. We hope to gain your support for this legacy item. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bunny. Now Jayla will start us on our next topic.
When you hear the word homeless, do you picture me? I was one in 4.2 million youth who experience homelessness in the United States every year. Statistically speaking, I shouldn't have been, but I was. I graduated high school at 17. 3 weeks later, I turned 18. 3 months later, I was living in my car. I believe a lack of understanding of what life was going to entail after my K-12 education played a huge role in my experience. According to a study done by the Association of American Colleges and Universities, only 55% of high school students feel prepared to enter adult life. START, or Student to Adulthood Readiness Training, is a proposed life skills education high school elective that will be offered all 4 years of high school to reach the percentage of students who won't continue their education past their freshman year. It will help students learn skills such as financial understanding, interview prep, grocery shopping and basic cooking, professional skills, mental and physical well-being, and overall individual well-being. With the implementation of START, we expect to see a decrease in violence, substance abuse, dropout rates, and young adult homelessness. We'd also expect to see an increase in school attendance, life satisfaction, and overall individual well-being. START aims to ensure that every young adult has access to all the tools and resources to not only survive, but thrive in adult life. I believe life skills education is one key to ending youth homelessness, but we'll only know if we start now.
Thank you for your expertise and your vulnerability. And here is Emily to talk about the basic human right to have a place to stay the night. Take it away, Emily.
Thank you, Mayana. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for sharing space with us today. We, the young people at the Mockingbird Society, believe that House Bill 1406 is the best way to combat youth whose parents cannot be located and youth whose parents do not request that the child returns home. As it stands, youth and shelter staff only have 72 hours to get parental consent when attempting to stay at a shelter. And during these times, they aren't able to get said consent, which can lead to things like shelter hopping, couch surfing, or other forms of homelessness that are detrimental to our youth here in Washington State. House Bill 1406 will allow youth to lawfully stay in shelter for up to 90 days, while simultaneously creating a system where a young person would build a community support team that would consist of first and foremost themselves, as well as a combination of licensed shelter staff, caseworkers, school personnel, behavioral health supports, such as peer supports, family members, and other service providers, youth as a supportive part of their team. This team would then meet to determine the services, what services are needed to alleviate any serious or imminent threat to the health or stability of the young person or their family, with the intent to keep families intact when and where possible. We have been partnering with the Washington Coalition on Homeless Youth Advocacy to put this together and feel like it's the best proposal we've had to address the youth population who are not safe at home but can't get consent to lawfully stay at shelter. House Bill 1406 has been championed by Representative Julio Cortez from the 38th Legislative District and has been supported by Representative Tana Sen from the 41st Legislative District. Thank you again for being here today in support of our mission, and I will pass it back to Caitlin.
Thank you so much, Emily, for helping us seek that information. Let's not talk about my budget, but we can move on to the Mockingbird family budget with Liz.
We need more foster parents like you.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here today to share with you about Mockingbird Family. My husband, Steve, and I have been Washington State foster parents for 12 years. In the last 9 years, we've had the opportunity to be part of Mockingbird Society with the Mockingbird Family. Our first 3 years of fostering were very difficult. We had no idea how alone we would feel. We had no idea how hard it was going to be to navigate the child welfare system by ourselves. And when our first sibling group went on to their forever home, the grief and how to process that grief to then continue on to be foster parents. Every foster parent needs community of others to be able to do the fostering journey. In addition, every youth deserves that same opportunity to have a community of their fellow peers who might have similar life experiences. Mockingbird Family provides all of this and a little bit more. We, over the 9 years, have seen our foster parents who may be licensed 10 years, all the way down to brand new foster homes, connect, share resources, support others. We're able to keep sibling groups together. You might not have one home in your constellation, but if you had 3 homes that could support a sibling group of 5, keeps them together, connected in their community, which is the best outcome for them in that certain situation. In addition, we're here to help the social workers too, to be able to do the work and keep consistency and stability for everyone. Our work as a hub home continues because the agency that supports us has the structure and resources to do it well. They're not there to direct us and tell us how to do it. They're there to listen to us, and we are able to communicate what the needs are of our families and of the youth. Today, when you meet with legislators, we ask you to encourage them to provide the requested $4.5 million that will assist statewide implementation of Mockingbird Family. What this equates to is 8.5 staff to support throughout the state, support for DCYF and private agencies to launch constellations, and support of our current hub homes, in addition to having our hub homes go from a current 11 constellations to 30 over the next 2 years. From Seattle to Vancouver to Spokane, the decision packet would allow DCYF to give the kind of support and structure of families and youth that they need. It includes finances to not only implement, but the staffing and support over the long term. Together, we can change what foster care looks like for youth and families, and one that builds community and support. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for sharing and giving us information about the great topics we've presented. Now we have Sam Martin, our dedicated lobbyist and advocate, to go over tips and instructions for advocacy in action.
What's up, everybody? Good morning, good morning. It's so great to see everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. It's just so great to see so many people in the room. And then wanting to be able to talk about some exciting breaking news in regards to one of our bills. House Bill 1406, which we just discussed, just passed off committee floor with a completely bipartisan vote. Come on, come on. Our work is moving forward. This is amazing news, and it's going to be able to continue to create the opportunity for young people to seek shelter. So we're just super excited. All of everybody's hard work is continuing to pay off. So just wanted to uplift and highlight that for everybody. Now, really excited to be able to talk about advocacy and Advocacy Day. I've been to more of these than I can count at this point, but I'm really excited to be able to break down some tips and some pointers for you all today. So everyone who's registered for Advocacy in Action for this portion of the day has been assigned a group. If you're not sure what group you're in, the list is in the Youth Advocacy Day Google Drive, as well as your participant folders. Everyone has 1 or 2 group leads who will help everyone kind of prep for the meetings with your legislators. As we just talked about, we're going to be able to talk about a lot of amazing, exciting bills and things like that today, so we'll have opportunities and time to be able to prep for that. Finally, every group has been assigned to legislative meetings. Please keep in mind that the offices are small and not necessarily everyone in the group will be able to meet with legislators, so please let's prioritize the presence of youth and young adults in these meetings, and other group members can also just kind of help to support and prepare our young leaders. Your legislative meetings will take place at the legislative building, in the legislative buildings, or on Zoom, and will be only about 15 minutes, sometimes a little shorter. We know our legislators are running around really crazy right now, doing a lot of different things, right? And so it's a busy time, but we're thankful for the legislators and the staff members who are going to take the time to be able to meet with us today. Being on time is really important, and preparing a plan for how you have the meeting in advance will be very important. You'll have time to prepare after the morning program, this right now, and you'll be able to work with your group leads and they'll help you with that. For our folks online who are watching online, plan to join your legislative meetings a couple minutes early to allow for any technical challenges or connection issues or anything like that. When you're in your meeting, be sure to thank your legislator for their time, share why you think the legislative priorities are important, and ask them for their support. They may ask questions. If you don't have the answers at that moment, it's okay to say that you'll come back with the answer or response in the near future. Your group lead will write down any questions that may arise, and then they'll send them out to the policy team, and we'll help and assist and make sure we get those questions answered. Most importantly, have fun, have a blast. We already had some legislative wins today. Let's keep doing it, y'all.
Thank you, Sam. Now, we're going to prepare for our advocacy and action meetings. So here to do a role play to help remind us how to make the most of these meetings, please welcome Jayla, V, Aviana, and Douglas. Alrighty. And see. Yeah, they're gonna have to hear you, so we'll just kind of take turns on the microphone, I think. I don't know. All right, let's head to our legislative meetings. But before we go, we should plan our meetings so we're organized and effective in the short time we have.
Sounds good. What's first?
Well, you and I will be meeting with the senator for start. When we go into their office, I will introduce myself and say that we're from the Eastern region and talk on the importance of our ask and answer any questions they may have. I'll thank them for taking time to meet with us and thank them for being a supporter of youth and young adult issues.
I live in Senator Young's district. Should I mention that?
Definitely. You should all introduce yourselves, say the reason you are at Youth Advocacy Day, and whether you are a constituent, which means that you live in the district the legislator represents. You can find out which district you live in by using the link on our Google Drive. After we introduce ourselves, I can give you a brief overview of the 6 priority issues on our legislative agenda. People can share a personal connection to the issues if they feel confident doing so.
So, what if we don't have a personal connection to each issue?
Honestly, not all of us will, and that's okay. Sorry, I lost my spot. We have talking points in the packet that each group got at registration, and it will be available to reference if you need it. After we all talk about all of the topics, we ask if we can have their support on our legislative agenda.
What if they say no?
We can ask them where there is hesitancy to support this bill and ask if there's any other information we can provide that would help them better understand these issues.
Exactly. And whatever information they request, we can report that back to the Mockingbird Society so they can follow up.
Sounds like a good plan. But before we leave the meeting, we should thank the senator or senators we meet with and their staff again. It's quite a busy time for them. Aviana, your sock is untied.
Good point. Let's go.
One second. Confidence, right? All right. So, good morning, Senator Young. Thank you so much for meeting with our group today. My name's V. I go by they, them, and I'm a chapter member for Mockingbird Society. Our group is dedicated to transforming foster care and ending youth homelessness.
Well, I guess I'm too tall now. Okay, I will have to bow. Oops. All right, good morning, Senator Young. My name is Douglas. I'm really eager to talk about our legislative items. I know that it would have benefited people like me and will impact other youth and young adults in the future. And I am one of your constituents. I really hate that word.
Okay.
Good morning, Senator Young. My name is Aviana, and I am a chapter member for the Mockingbird Society and excited to have the opportunity to speak with you today.
First, we want to thank you for being a strong supporter of youth and young adult issues over the years.
Well, this is an example of a barrier I'm overcoming. There we go. All right, today we're excited to talk to you about expanding extended foster care, my favorite. Limiting access to juvenile records, my second favorite. Financial capability for youth and foster care. I think that's everybody else's first favorite. Student to adult readiness training, perfect. I really hope the children of the future become better than this generation. Youth seeking shelter and services. No offense to this generation, by the way. Mockingbird family budget ask, which will definitely help.
We will start off by sharing knowledge about youth seeking shelter and services.
Okay, our goal with Youth Seeking Shelter and Service Bill to allow youth whose parents cannot be located, or youth whose parents do not allow them to return home, or return to their home, the ability to stay in shelters for up to 90 days.
I can see that this topic means a lot to you, but are there not concerns with children running away whenever they feel like it? Does this not put them in danger?
Thank you for asking. There's definitely clarity I can provide. In the way we want to structure it, this is for minors who need safe places to stay with support systems and case management put into place. This would allow minors to seek safety and shelter in situations that are dangerous or harming and configure a way to keep them in a safe place and analyze next steps when the people responsible are not doing their jobs.
We have some structural processes that we are working on, but we are wanting to have a support team that can help in this transition and have the main priority be protecting vulnerable minors and providing access to places of safety without repercussions.
Thank you for providing that information. What else do you have?
Another issue we're advocating for is extended foster care. This is a legacy topic for Mockingbird. We are wanting to secure and increase payments so that young people are having equitable access to resources and deserve payments.
Passing Senate Bill 5230 would create a safety net for those who don't meet federal school work or housing requirements, including homeless young adults currently excluded. Increase monthly payments to $1,200 a month, awesome. Provide a post-extended foster care financial support system to individuals aged 21 through 25. I am all set for another 5 years.
Thank you for explaining more in depth. I know that the extended foster care was pushed forward by the Mockingbird Society, so I love the intent for expansion. Please leave any more information you have on Senate Bill 5230 with my assistant.
Finally, we want to talk about Mockingbird Family. Mockingbird Family gives foster families and young people a community of support, just like an extended family of grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins might. We are supporting DCYF's request for $4.5 million that will assist in statewide implementations of Mockingbird Family. This means funding for 8.5 staff to support it throughout the state, funds to support both DCYF and private agencies in starting constellations, funds to support current hub homes, and funding to increase these communities from 11 to 30 over the next 2 years. With this, communities from Seattle to Vancouver to Spokane can get the kind of wraparound supports they deserve.
Wow, Mockingbird Family sounds like the right way to do foster care. Do you have any other information on the budget ask and what it is intended for?
Senator Young, we don't want to take too much more of your time. As we know, it's a very busy day. But we do want to ask, can we have your commitment to continue supporting the 3 issues on our legislative agenda?
You can absolutely have my support on all of those issues. Thank you for coming here today and sharing your stories.
Thank you for your support and taking the time to meet with us today. We appreciate you being a champion for youth and young adult issues.
All right, so there's some final tips on the wall. I believe it's those papers kind of posted everywhere. Remember to plan and practice on your way to your meetings and make your way to the right spots on time, as mentioned. Sorry. All our in-person advocates will now be marching to the Capitol building and meeting with legislators. We want to thank you for joining us during the online presentation and encourage you to reach out to your local representatives to show your support for Mockingbird's Advocacy Agenda. The online portion of Youth Advocacy Day will now be coming to a close. Caitlin now has a few more pieces of information to add.
In our legislative meetings, we will be prioritizing the voices of youth and young adults with lived experience. This will mean that many community members who are placed in groups will not participate in a legislative meeting. Within your group, please select only up to 5 individuals to participate in meetings, and prioritize selecting youth and young adults with lived experience. Thank you for centering and amplifying the voices of young people. Now Sierra is going to give you some directions, so please listen to her carefully.
Okay, before I get into it, I want to say thank you to all of the youth speakers that are here today. I also want to thank just the staff that I have been incredibly supportive and adaptable, so I'm very grateful to be here with you all. Well, what the heck? Let's get to the Capitol now. You all ready? All right, so I just want to say most meetings will be held at the John L. O'Brien Building in the legislative buildings. For those who are not part of legislative meetings, there is a scavenger hunt provided in the Google Drive where you can hashtag YAD2023 and take pictures at the locations provided. You can visit places on the Capitol grounds and get to be in community with all of us that have come here today. All this information can be found on the Google Drive, like I said, and this is also an opportunity to call your representatives and senators or go along to ask for support on our legislative items. Everyone's voice matters, so if you are a group lead, in the back table, the purple one on this side has some signs for you to carry, and that is where you will lift it up in this room and collect your groups together before we march. So, before I get started, I also want to make an announcement that our rally will be starting 10 minutes earlier. If you're in a meeting and rushing, it's okay, but we're going to get started with the rally, and we will have our guest speakers starting at 12 o'clock. Okay, is everybody ready? Okay, and also make sure that if you need your packets, to go onto the Google Drive, and also you can pick them up at registration. But hold on, I know we're excited. We have a few last announcements, and then we'll get started. You ready?
Everyone check their socks, please, and make sure they're tied, and let's go.